Today I'm going to be surviving 100 days as a medieval knight. This is my kingdom Nuxvar. It's my job to act as a royal knight and protect it. But ever since being captured and thrown into an unknown location, that job is near impossible. Can I find my way home to protect my kingdom from all who try to take it down? Let's find out. Also, I spent a lot of time on this video, so please subscribe. And before the video starts, I'm running a giveaway for a copy of Tiny Tina's Wonderlands. And all you need to do to enter is to join my Discord and go to the giveaways channel. I want to give a massive thank you to G Fuel for sponsoring this giveaway. Make sure to check out the Tiny Tina's Sparkly Boom Magic flavor. I know that's a mouthful, but this flavor is absolutely fantastic and reminds me a lot of a cherry cola. And every purchase of this flavor will grant you some skeleton keys, which are used for in-game loot. Also guys, don't forget to use code GUILTY for 30% off your order. Now let's get straight into the video. After getting away from my enemies, I grabbed some wood, made a pickaxe, and got to work mining out this giant boulder. With the stone I got, I made some better tools, and before I knew it, it was morning. Day 2 wasn't off to all sunshine and rainbows though. Okay, that's a bear. Oh shoot, and the guards are still looking for me. I quickly and quietly snuck over to the camp and grabbed what I could. Inside this barrel was some bread, a pair of boots, and a wooden machete. And then I was spotted. I immediately took off, but these guys were fast. I was brought down to 1 heart and ran away as quickly as I could. I jumped into the nearby river and swam to safety. After getting away by the skin of my teeth, I spent some time exploring. This place did not look like anywhere near my home castle, which really wasn't a good sign. But I decided to make the best of it and gathered some materials as I traversed the unknown kingdom. After a short while, I came across a creature I had never seen before, the griffin.
Welcome to Riftsaw, the rival kingdom to your home Nuxvar. It is not safe for you to be here. You are wanted by enemy knights. You must return home to Nuxvar to stay safe. But the journey is long. Gear up and keep heading north and you will make it home.
I had no choice but to trust him. After all, I didn't know where I was. So I headed off north to hopefully find my home kingdom. Phew, I've been traveling for a while. I think here is a good place to stop. The rest of this day was just spent gathering some materials, protecting my camp from vicious zombies, and of course my favorite, napping. Although I needed to get back to my kingdom, I knew I needed a base point to call home for now. This is just until I get a horse and some proper gear. So I got straight to building. I tried to make something that suits a medieval knight. So I used some of this rocky stone, spruce wood, and redwood. And by the way guys, a little birdie told me that almost all of you guys who watch my videos are not subscribed. So we gotta change that statistic and up that percentage. That means to click subscribe now. Okay, this is very different to anything I've ever built, but I think it's a good change. And yes, it is very small, but it's perfect to fit everything I need. After I finished my house, I built a small farm next to it, just to make sure that I have some food. I even planted my sugarcane, and then I left my base to explore a bit. and I came across a village on the edge of this forest. I headed on over and it was a really nice place. But they did have a grizzly bear in their well. I made friends with the village guards and then went through and grabbed anything that I found useful. And no, this isn't stealing, this is just borrowing. There was actually a lot here, including plenty of food and a brand new weapon. This iron mace is pretty cool, I'm not gonna lie. I also found some iron at the surface of the village mine that I grabbed. I smelted it together and used it to craft an iron pickaxe. Well, actually 2 pickaxes, because I was planning on doing a lot of mining today. And I didn't have a shield yet, so I crafted one of those as well. Once I was fully geared up, I went mining. I was fortunate enough to find a cave pretty early on, and this place was jam-packed full of ores around every corner. There was everything I could ever need down here. There were even ores that I didn't recognize. And midway through my time down here in the mines, I took a break to smelt some iron and make a full set of shiny new iron armor. Then it was back to finding all the ores I would need to gear up. Eventually, I made my way back up to the surface and started heading home. Hey, that's weird. What happened to my house? Uh-oh. The enemies must have found my location. I need to get out of here now. That's right. The enemy kingdom now knows where my house is, and I have to get the heck out of here. I left into the night with nothing more than what I already had in my inventory. And after running all night long, I came across a small camp, and I noticed whoever lived here was holding a villager hostage. What the heck is this place? I slowly crept inside of the cottage and it was empty. But there was a lit candle, meaning someone must be nearby. I stole a bow from this chest and headed outside, but the owner of this home was outside waiting for me. I headed back inside and decided to make myself a safety bunker. I had to play this smart. I climbed up to the top of the cottage and shot my bow, and that's when I realized this wasn't a normal enemy. This was an illusioner, meaning this guy multiplies and is extremely difficult to kill. I did drink an invisibility potion thinking it might help me, but it didn't do anything. Then I fell off the roof of the cottage. A pack of illusioners was coming at me and I didn't know which was the real one. I ran away to reposition myself, and then using my bow I took out the last few. Then I snuck back over to the camp and set this poor fella free. But I didn't want to hang around here for too long. I continued heading through the forest searching for somewhere to set up a new secret base. After a while, I eventually came across a dense forest and decided it would be a great area to set up, but I knew that I had some enemy guards looking for me, so I decided to make this a hidden base under a tree. Using a hidden redstone line, I built the coolest entrance to an underground base. Now, all I had left to do was to actually furnish this thing. I snuck outside to grab some materials that I would need. This was really risky, but I needed wood, so I had to be super careful here. After getting plenty of dark oak wood, I cleared out a larger room underground and then started building up the walls. And after setting up all these pillars, I wanted some rocky stone to add, so I headed back up to the surface to get some. I grabbed a ton of rocky stone, and then I found mossy cobblestone that I really fell in love with. So I grabbed a ton of this as well and headed back to the safety of my underground bunker. But I fell into a trap on my way back. I landed in a dark spider pit, and with just one heart to spare, I broke the spawner and grabbed some random items from the chests. Finally, I was back at my base and was back to building. I actually love the palette I used for this build. What do you guys think? I personally think it's pretty cozy. And once this was complete, I decided to add on a farm to the base. I'm gonna need food, so this was really important. After spending a load of time down here in my secret bunker, I realized that the farm I had built wasn't really cutting it, so I needed to get some more food. I crafted a new shield and headed into the forest to do some hunting. Okay, perfect. There's a ton of deer out here. If I can just get one of these guys. Oh gosh, that's a bear. Okay.
Hey, he's over here.
Huh? Who's there?
We got him, guys.
What the? Where am I? What is this place? I'm trapped. I need to get out of here. Hey, there's all my stuff. Wait, is this a way out? Oh, it looks like it leads to the bottom of this well. Oh shoot, there's guards out here. I need to find a way to get my stuff and get the heck out of here. What even is this place? It's so creepy. Come on, there has to be a key somewhere in here. I only have a short amount of time before they notice I'm gone. I ran through the castle, searching for a key or an entrance to the dungeon where they were keeping my items. But there were so many guards walking around patrolling the place, so I had to sneak past them. I was starting to feel much better when I found an iron sword and a shield, and was ready to fight through whatever I needed to find my way out of here. I also found this really cool Aqua Affinity helmet, and then almost got caught by these guards. I headed down under the castle and then found myself in a tunnel system. I knew that I must be near where my items were being held. Come on, it's gotta be somewhere around here. Aha, there it is. I was reunited with all of my things, and boy was I happy. I had my iron mace back and the rest of my armor set. Now, I knew I needed to get the heck out of here. But things weren't looking good for me.
Hey, where's the prisoner? How could you let him get away? Just find him now.
Oh geez, I hope they don't see me up here. Oh no.
Get him!
After making it across the bridge, I knew I was being hunted down by these guards. I was so glad to be out of there, but I knew I had to keep moving. I jumped into the ocean and swam away without turning back. Finally, land! I washed ashore on some sort of mysterious desert, and I had absolutely no idea where I was. I looked around for someone who could help guide me to Nuxvar, but there was no one to be seen for miles. As I was looking around, I realized this place is pretty beautiful, but I'm really lost. Just when things were seeming pretty hopeless for me, I saw this fella just hanging out. There was no one else around him, so I decided I would take care of him. And he was really fast too. I decided to call him Joust. We rode through the desert over days and nights to find our way back to Nuxvar together. Okay, the castle should be right up here. And after quite the journey, we had made it. Joust, you stay here. I'm gonna go find the king. King Henry.
Hello, Guilty. It's good to see you.
You as well. I wanted to warn you about our enemies over at Riftsaw. I was captured and just barely escaped.
That means they're going to come here searching for you.
Exactly. We have to prepare.
Very well. I'll let the royal guards know. In the meantime, take this deed of land and make yourself comfortable. Thank you for your service to the kingdom.
With the deed of land the king handed to me, Joust and I were off. It was so good to be back. I was sure to greet all of the villagers, including my man who sold me this super cool bow. I showed Joust around because he hadn't seen the kingdom yet, and this is going to be his new home. After a while, we finally made it to our new land. This was all ours, and we could do whatever we wanted with it. I figured we should probably start off simple and get some shelter going. There's a lot more I want to build, but we definitely need something to keep us out of the rain first. I started off by gathering some wood to build with. I didn't have too many blocks at all, so I harvested a ton of wood today. The next morning, I got straight to work on the build. Now, yes, I know this is my third base I'm building in this video already, but hopefully now that I'm in the protective walls of the kingdom, I won't need to flee again. I was surrounded by dark oak and spruce wood, so that's what I used to build the walls of my house. I also used cobblestone because that's the other block I had on hand. With my brand new house all built up, it was time to decorate. I had a blast adding tons of small details onto the build. I also knew that I needed a lot of chests in this house to keep all of my items, so I was sure to set that up as well. With my house complete, I started to set up a new farm. I have no source of food, so I was more than happy to have a few wheat seeds to plant. And after planting a giant field of crops, I got started on Joust's new home. I wanted to build him a nice roomy stable. And who knows, I may be bringing home a friend for him, so I needed to make sure I had plenty of room for another horse. I stuck with the dark oak style and built the roof out of slabs. And Joust seemed pretty happy to have a new home. With plenty of new builds on my land, I took a break to get myself some better gear. Iron armor and tools is not going to cut it for much longer, so I headed straight underground in search of the one and only Aurichalum. This is the most powerful ore and can only be found here in Nuxvar. That's why the enemies are always pursuing us. I went mining for a very long time. I found some diamonds that I used to craft a pickaxe with, and then continued mining. I did come across a few veins of the ore and grabbed all that I could find. I headed back up to the surface level and smelted it all into ingots and then crafted some new armor pieces. This is much more powerful than diamond armor, and hopefully I'll be able to get a full set soon. With my 3 leftover ingots, I crafted this scythe, which is literally the coolest thing ever. Guys, just look at how I can harvest my crops. I'm not sure if this thing doubles as a weapon, but it sure is cool. Today, I decided to take a trip around the kingdom with Joust. We explored the vast valleys and even found some loot from these abandoned camps along the way. And I got Joust this shiny pair of golden horse armor. We went all over the kingdom, finding various chests filled with loot. Basically, the point of this mission was to check around to make sure that no enemies were following us. And let me tell you, Nuxvar is ginormous, so this took us a long time. We even visited the people of the kingdom and then decided to head back to our compound. We rode through the night, and in the early hours of the morning, I came across a few wild horses. I told you guys I was going to get a friend for Joust, and that I did. I attached a lead to one of the horses, and we walked him back to our house. I decided to name him Bingo. And when the three of us returned home, I put both Joust and Bingo into the stable so that they could spend some time getting to know each other. And honestly, I'm not really sure which horse is faster. They are both pretty speedy. Comment down below who you think would win in a race. Later that night, I decided to take Bingo out for a ride. And all seemed well until we came across these guys. There were some disgusting ogre-type fellas on our land. They didn't have much health and couldn't move very fast, so I picked them off easily with my bow. And then the last ogre I thought I could take with my mace, and that was just a bad idea. Just one hit took half my health. I hopped back on Bingo and killed him with my bow. We headed home to sleep, and the next day I started grabbing some stones so I could build a wall around my land. I don't want any ogres coming around to attack my horses when I'm gone, so I definitely needed this. After grabbing plenty of cobblestone, I crafted walls and started fencing in my house and the stables. I felt much safer once this was complete. And since I had a lot of leftover cobblestone, I decided to build an armory. Every knight needs an armory, somewhere to keep his best gear and weapons. I kept this build very simple, and in no time I had somewhere to keep all of my gear. And the next morning I geared up and headed off on an adventure. While I was inside the enemy castle, I noticed some treasure that I really wanted, so I was going to head back inside and take it for myself. And I know you're wondering why I didn't bring one of the horses with me on this journey. And that's because the castle is surrounded by an ocean, and Joust and Bingo aren't exactly the swimming type. So I took this mission on my own. After some time of traveling, I arrived at the shores of the castle. But the castle of Riftsaw always has a lot of protection, and there were guards posted up all over the place. I was really intimidated, but I knew I could handle it. I fired some shots over with my bow and moved closer. Even with shields equipped, the guards were easy to take down, but I knew things would get harder once I headed inside. I advanced across the bridge, and in no time, I was surrounded. Backup units were called in, and I was definitely feeling the pressure of my enemies. I had to run away to heal, and then I created this trap. I placed blocks in a way so that these guys couldn't get through, and then I shot countless bow shots at them. I picked off quite a few, and then one of them breached my wall. I towered up high, and with the strike of my mace, he was done. Down to 2 hearts, I took some time to heal, and then finished off the rest of the enemies. It was time to head closer to the treasure room, but first I had to fight a few more knights protecting it. I took them down and headed inside. I was greeted with a giant pile of gold and diamonds, and I grabbed every single one. I even got a netherite block here. Then I moved on and found barrels filled with treasure. I didn't know what some of this stuff was, but I grabbed it anyways before the knights could find me. With my pockets full of loot, I headed out of the castle and jumped straight into the ocean, sailing off into the sunset. My mission was a success. By the time I made it home, I took a much needed rest and the next day sorted through all of what I was able to get from Riftsaw. I made quite a few upgrades to my gear, including a netherite helmet and boots and a celestial pickaxe and axe. Not to mention this sword and golden apples I had grabbed as well. And then I wasted all of my XP on repairing my bow. I was super happy with my upgrades and I decided to take some of my leftover treasures to the king, just as a thank you for being granted such a generous plot of land. But while I was heading through the castle, I heard something strange. Joust and I peered outside and there was Riftsaw's entire army. They must have followed me back to Nuxvar. I didn't have time to think and I had to start fighting back straight away. I can't let them take over our kingdom. My fellow knights and I started on pushing back our enemies, but so many had breached our walls that it wasn't going to be easy. And using my bow, I took a few enemies down but had a long way to go. This was going to be a serious battle.
Okay, I really hope I don't run out of arrows here. I just have to remember to use my shield. That will protect me.
My best bet to fight through these guys was to do it tactically. I was outnumbered by a lot, so I kept repositioning myself along the hills of the castle. This way I can use the land to my advantage.
Oh god, I'm losing so much health from these guys. Alright, last two, I can do this.
Just when I thought I had taken out the last of the army, I turned the corner to another squad of enemy knights. I used my bow to push them back as much as possible, but these guys moved quickly, and they weren't going to leave without a fight. Using my shield, I protected myself against their swords and arrows and picked them off using my powerful sword. The battle went on for days. There were moments where I felt defeated, but after fighting through hundreds of Riftsaw's most fearful knights, the rest of their kingdom surrendered and headed back to where they came from. My kingdom and I spent the rest of our day celebrating the victory. Joust and I rode home and boy were we happy. Once we made it safely back to the house, I rewarded Joust with some upgraded armor and even got some armor for Bingo. I got a few useful things from the battle, including the horse armor, an enchantment table, some emeralds, and best of all, this chicken nugget. In the morning, I quickly set up an enchanting setup with books I had laying around, but when I went to enchant, I realized I didn't have any lapis, so that meant it was time to head underground to do a mining trip. I didn't really mind this though, because I was needing some more XP and mining ores is an easy way to get some, so I spent a bit of time underground mining in a straight line until I found myself some lapis. And let me tell you, this took much longer than I expected. I wasn't able to find any aurichalum, but I got plenty of other ores and XP along the way. When I made it back to my house, I smelted some ores and then got straight to enchanting. This was the final upgrade I was needing to my gear, and I was so happy to finally have enchants. I got Vein Miner on my pickaxe and this enchant goes crazy. Like, how is this in the game? After getting myself equipped with some of the best enchants in the game, I decided to do some farming. I crafted a netherite hoe and grabbed all the seeds I had and got straight to work. I figured I should expand my wheat field by as much as I can, because you can never have enough wheat, am I right? But right when I headed out into my field, I saw this little guy. A copper golem was trespassing on my crops. I couldn't believe it. He was actually really friendly too. I grabbed a lead and decided to make him comfortable in my house for now. I asked for some name suggestions on Twitter and got the idea to name him Rusty from my pal Tim. So that's the name I went with. I'll have to get him a name tag soon, but for now it was time to get back to farming. I continued expanding my wheat farm as much as I could. I literally ran out of room. I filled up so much of this empty land with crops, and eventually I did run out of seeds. After being a farmer for a few days, I had a ton of wheat to harvest. And I used the scythe to grab it all. And then I crafted some bread. After getting more food than I'll ever need in my entire life, I headed underground to look for some more Ritualum. And of course, to get some XP. With the enchants I was able to get so far, I knew I wanted to do some more enchanting. So XP was going to be useful. I found myself in this gorgeous lush cave and then entered into what looked like an underground bastion. This place was full of hostile skeletons and chests containing loot. I fought through some skeletons pretty easily and decided to look around. I got some great things from these chests, including new ores, a mining glove, this incredible looking bow, and not to mention all of the diamonds I found down here. I literally filled my inventory with ores and other treasures. And eventually, after I had conquered all of the bastion, I found this chest holding an enchanted golden apple. There were also some ores, and a Ritualum shovel, and a backpack in here. I was thrilled to finally have one of these and filled it up straight away. I continued through the caves and kept finding great things down here. And when I finally left the bastion, I was 10 times richer than before I entered. After making it back to my base, I threw everything I had back into my chests. And I was completely unorganized. I was literally running out of storage. I played around with my new bow and smelted the Ritualum I got, which I then used to craft the rest of my armor set. This was really exciting. I added some new enchants and bam, I was definitely the most powerful knight in the kingdom. After this, I figured I really needed to build Rusty a home. So I headed into the forest to grab some logs, and then I got straight to work on building him the coolest house a copper golem could ever dream of having. This little guy loves the wheat field, so I built it overlooking my crops. And yes, I do realize that this is much more room than he'll ever need, but hey, this guy deserves the best house, don't you think? After throwing together a super cool house, I grabbed some decor and moved Rusty inside. He seemed to like it and things were looking good. And a little while later, I decided to make some changes around my house. I was completely out of storage space. So I placed chests in a way that would be a little more space effective. And I was able to fit a lot more items inside my base. I also redecorated the place a bit. With the upgrades I had made, I took a break to take Bingo out on a ride. It's been a little while since I took him out. So we rode around for a bit, before coming across some strange hut. I had the best armor in the game, so I wasn't scared of much. I headed inside and there were ladders leading underground. I explored the strange place and got some bits of loot from the chests down here as well. Then I headed back up and hopped back onto Bingo, and we continued searching around the kingdom. And we really just enjoyed ourselves and the kingdom that we helped shape. And that, my friends, is how I survived 100 days as a medieval knight. If you guys enjoyed this one, please be sure to smack a like on it, and I'll see you in my next 100 days adventure.